Hey everybody, welcome back to Kat's Kitchen. I'm so glad you guys are back here with me for another episode. Today we're going to be making some Delmonico steaks. You can see here I'm showing you through the package. I'm going to get these washed and dried. And today was a busy Monday, so we are just making what I call a fast meal. Steak is always a pretty fast meal. I really enjoy making that on a weeknight, and also kind of is a nice special little treat on a busy weekday. And so what I did the day before is I prepped the sides that we're going to have. I've been trying to do that on a Sunday, is prep some of the side veggies that we're going to be eating throughout the week. So yesterday I had prepared some baked potatoes, white potatoes, and sweet potatoes. And then I prepared some broccoli, steamed broccoli, and steamed green beans. So I have that already prepped in my fridge. So that makes this busy Monday pretty much a breeze, because all I had to do was get out my one cast iron skillet here and prepare my meat, sear it up, and then dinner is going to be ready here. Look how beautiful those are. Those are the Delmonico steaks from my local rancher. And as you guys know already, we purchase half a cow at a time from our local rancher, so that we get as high quality beef as we possibly can within our budget. And it's actually a lot cheaper purchasing it that way rather than in the grocery store, because you, depending on what you get and where you get it from, but you can generally get about $3.99 to $5.99 per pound, and that's for all the cuts. So what I'm doing right now is I just put a little bit of avocado oil in my skillet here. I do have the skillet on a mid-high. We want it to get real nice and hot. I'm turning on my exhaust there, and I'm just patting our steaks dry here with the paper towels. As I've mentioned before, anytime you're searing any protein, you want to make sure you get it really nice and dry. Otherwise, when it hits the pan, it's just going to steam it and it's not going to sear it. And I just keep washing my hands in between touching the raw meat. And then when I start seasoning the meat, you'll see that I'm using one clean hand and one dirty hand. I always keep my steak seasoning very simple. I just use salt, steak seasoning, and then after it's seared on both sides, and then after it sears for a little bit in the pan, I'll then add the pepper. I don't want to add the pepper in too soon because I don't want it to burn. I'm putting the steak seasoning on pretty generously here on both sides, and then you'll see I pat it down just to ensure that it's going to stick to the meat. And another little tip I want to give you guys is, if you're not sure if your pan is hot enough or not yet, I can feel the heat coming off of it, so I'm adjusting the temperature. As you can see, as I tilt the pan, it starts to smoke. That means it's really nice and hot. However, if you are unaware, you could take a little bit of water and drop it into the pan very gently. And then if it starts to bubble up real fast, then you know your pan is ready to go. So you can see here, pressing the steaks down to the pan for a better sear. I would not recommend using your fingers like I did. I actually got burnt here, so I would recommend using your tongs or a flat spatula to just press that meat down to give it a nice even sear. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. So now that this side is starting to sear down in the pan, we're going to season up the other side while it's in our pan. And then we're just going to let the heat and the cast iron do the work. Also, you'll notice that I'm seasoning up fairly high. The reason why I'm doing that for the salt is because I want an even distribution of salt on the steaks. Anytime you're seasoning anything, especially whenever you have a high salt content there, you want it to disperse over your food or your protein, whatever you're cooking, fairly evenly. So that's a little chef way of doing that. Obviously, the steak seasoning I went on there very liberally, so that's why I put that a lot closer so that I can get a better coating of our steak seasoning. Because I feel that it adds like a little bit of a crust whenever you're searing off your steaks. So now I'm pretty much done. We have the sides done because I prepared them the day before. I think I even had little mashed potatoes and some spinach left over too. So we're going to be utilizing that for dinner. Later on here, you'll see that. So now I'm just going to get the rest of the kitchen cleaned up here. I like to utilize my time as best as I can while I'm in the kitchen. So while one thing is working, I will make sure that I'm working on something else. And obviously, I'm in close quarters with what I'm cooking in case it needs my attention. I'm not completely leaving it. One little tip too that I do for my dishes, especially on a weekday, I pretty much do this every single day, but for those of you out there that maybe need a little tip on scheduling when to wash your dishes and whatnot, because obviously we all have very busy schedules, what I normally do is I will pile up all the dishes that I use throughout the day in the sink or on the counter if I don't have enough room on the sink for until after dinner time or around dinner time, like what we're doing right now. I don't like to bother myself with the dishes until dinner time just to give myself a little bit of a breather and a break, especially when it's been a busy day. I've noticed that if I do that with certain chores, it really helps me with my workflow, and then I don't get overwhelmed because I have specific times for when these specific tasks are going to get done. I do that the same with how I clean my house as well. I have specific days that I do laundry, I have specific days that I dust, etc. So just want to throw that out there. I know a lot of you guys watching take care of your home, and maybe that would just give you a nice little tip. Here I'm showing you the sear that we're starting to form there. Unfortunately, when you cook on a glass top like this, it is electric, so you don't always get a nice even sear. So sometimes I do have to reposition my proteins in my pans to get a nice even sear. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding in a little bit of a knob of butter. The way I've found to make steaks really simple is start out with a high burn point for with an oil first, like I'm using avocado oil first. Get your steak seared on that high heat, and then add in your butter. A little bit more to midway of your cooking process. That will help your butter from burning. The oil and the butter together combined help your butter from burning. And then obviously you can see I added in the pepper there on the one side, and then when I flip it again, I'll add the pepper on the other side. And then I'm just back to the dishes. My sink was actually really full today. But I'll tell you what, I mean, this is in real time here, and you see that I get everything cleaned up extremely fast. So multitasking is one of the chef's best tools if you can skills to learn and whatnot. Definitely learn how to multitask. You can get so much done whenever you're able to multitask. I know everyone always has an opinion on how to clean cast iron. Some people, apparently on lodge.com, I've heard lodgecastiron.com, they say that you can use pretty much anything and everything to, clean your cast iron. It says that it's strong enough, it can withstand pretty much anything. That's what I've heard too. You can use soap, hot water, metal to clean it, whatever you got to do. I was raised just using very hot water and a scouring pad. Like you see, I had that little metal scouring pad there. And then after I dry it, I'm going to towel dry it here in a moment. And then I spray it with some oil spray. And then that's how I store my cast iron. And it's lasted me for years. All of the cast iron I have was passed down to me from my family. So it's been in the family for at least 20, if not 30 years. Here I'm just giving my steaks a little spin here. These steaks are pretty near done at this point here. So all I'm going to do is just keep a close eye on them. It depends on what temperature you want your steaks, obviously. You'll have to cook them accordingly, and how thick they are as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm just pushing on my steaks with my fingers just to check the temperature. And Mark came in the room to see what I was up to. He likes to hang out in the kitchen with me whenever I cook. So I just did the final dash of pepper on that side, and now what I'm going to start doing is I have some caramelized onions and mushrooms from the previous day that I already took the time to cook them down. So to heat them up, I'm just going to pop them right on top of our steaks. This is how we like to eat them. I just pop them right on there, and then I'm going to grab a lid and pop it on top. And then I'm just going to turn off the heat at this point because the steaks don't, you know, they're really close to being done, so it can basically just set rest of the way with the lid on to heat up our mushrooms and onions. And then I'm not sure if I show it, but I am going to push the pan to the back of the stove so that it doesn't keep sitting on that hot burner. I'm just getting out our plates here, and then I'm going to start getting our sides warmed up. So right now I'm just setting the table. I'm just getting the cutlery out that we need for our dinner. And then I'll be checking our steak here in just a moment, and it's pretty much done at this point. So then I'm going to let it rest for a little while before we slice into it. So now I am just getting ready for the next day. I need to prepare the coffee. Let me know if you guys do this. Do you guys set up your coffee pot to brew on a timer for the next day? That makes our morning a lot easier. I'm composting our coffee grounds right there. The coffee filters that we have are, they also decompose, so it makes it really easy. I just pop the whole thing in my little compost bucket, and then it's good to go. I really love this Gravity water filter that we have. It was actually a wedding gift for Mark and I. If you guys use that, let me know too. It's really, really good. It cleans out a lot of particles and chemicals from the water. This is the only drinking water that we use. It goes through there. And then we also recently got a shower filter too, which has been really beneficial for our skin and our hair. Okay, so here we are. I have our sides on our dish, and I'm just placing our steak on there now. The one good thing about making sides ahead of time, and especially if making a few different sides, is you and someone else or whoever else you're cooking for can have different sides, which I think is really, really convenient. Mark wanted broccoli and a sweet potato, and I did the mash with green beans and a little bit of spinach we had left over. So it ended up being perfect. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one real soon. Bye bye, friends.